The challenge is with the data that AI is trained on, people are asking ChatGPT, how do I code X, Y, and Z? And it's coming back with this script or application logic that could have tons of vulnerabilities in it. And the person taking it is just copying and pasting it and tweaking it into their own system. So you've got a issue of code being non-secure, developers who don't know any better because they're hobbyists and they've never had the experience. It's not to be insulting; it's just fact.
Sure.
And they're just taking it and using it. So, and these are going to be out there much more rapidly than we've seen before. There's less fear around it. There's less concern. There's a lot of no code solutions out there that people don't know what's behind it. So from that perspective, it's a double-edged sword. If you prompt the AI right, you can get great code that's secure, but you've got to understand how to prompt it and the things. But I'd be curious from a United Effects perspective, is there anything from your side on creating code where you're looking at using AI to help more customize what you guys are building?
It's a good question. We're obviously looking at it. And from our perspective, we've been looking at it from a help sort of vantage point, very similar to what you just said. Can we create some templated integration code that you could ask an AI assistant to provide for any given, in our case, data streams, for example, or APIs, and have that be written up for you and ready to go? The good part there is that I'm writing a lot of these templates, so I know that they work and that they're secure. But it is an interesting challenge because there's this drift that I see it do sometimes where I'll train it on an API, for example, and done some experiments with this, and I'll ask it a question about that API and to do something. And it has some sort of AI fever dream and gives me something that makes no sense whatsoever. And I've actually had interactions with it where I will train it on something, create a whole bunch of content, and then in the middle of it, ask it a direct question about a source or why it did something, only to find that it didn't have a source and it just made it up. And then I've had to go back and basically start over because I wasted an hour. It's a tricky proposition right now. It's powerful, but it also doesn't always tell you when it's just making it up and when it might be wrong. And so you have to be paying very close attention, which on some level defeats the purpose, right? So I don't know that I answered the question except to say, thinking about it, I don't know that there's a great application yet. And I'd love it to just listen to our data streams and be able to tell you information about that. But I can't guarantee that it won't make it up.
It's not there yet, and a lot of that is going to be driven by its token size, its memory, so how much of a creative leeway you give it. Have you thought about integrating it into your RBAC system at all, or is that from a compliance perspective and verifying appropriate roles for customers, or is that something that would be like a much longer?
No, I haven't. And I guess we should just be clarifying that I guess I was speaking more toward like generative AI and ChatGPT and implementations. You can create your own AI models that are limited in terms of general use, but probably more trustworthy and more reliable in terms of a specific use case. In terms of generative AI, I would never place that as a security barrier between an endpoint and our system. I think, at least today, that is begging for a problem to happen. In terms of a highly trained specific model that we might create, I could see some potential opportunities there. But at the moment, no. Our approach to security, to helping a company be secure in terms of their APIs, in terms of our RBAC, and in terms of our fine grained permission system, is we've created a framework that gives you an ability to map very specifically what you want in terms of a user's access profile or a system's access profile if it's an automated client credential type interaction. And that is up to then the enforcing system to interpret. And that's our approach right now. And I think we're going to stay there for a little while until there's a more reliable way to go forward.
That's one of the good things about doing things with you guys is that you have the understanding of the risks and would favor the safe mechanism over the rush to the new tech.